Okay, so number 11. At this point, we've gotten to the regression part. And again, the calculations that we saw in the textbook are quite demanding, and you can easily make a mistake. So we're going to do this with technology. So I'm going to pull up this calculator and walk you through how to do that. This problem wants us to use the technique for linear regression, find the line of best fit for the given points, round any intermediate calculations to no less than 6 decimal places, and coefficients to 2. So they want us to come up with the regression equation. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. We're going to go and put all of these order pairs into stat. Now, I'm going to show you quite a bit of information, but you have this video so you can rewatch it and pick it all up. One of the first things I'm going to do, and we don't need it yet, but we will later, is I'm going to go to mode, and then I'm going to arrow down, or you can arrow up to get toward the bottom. You see how it says next. Okay, you get down to here. I want to turn the stat diagnostics on. So I'm going to arrow down here, and then I'm going to arrow over to on and hit enter. What this is going to do is whenever we need to find the correlation coefficient, it's going to do it for us automatically without us having to find it. So if you've downloaded the online calculator, or if you have an 84, you should have this option. However, some may not have this option, and so I will show you how to get to the R if you don't. And when we get there, I'll show you that part. So once you turn that on, just hit second and then mode again to quit. It's going to take you back here. Okay, so now we're going to enter these order pairs. What you're going to do is go to stat. The stat button is over here next to the left arrow key. You're going to hit enter on edit. It's already on number 1, so just hit enter. And then you should have lists 1, 2, 3, so on. So in L1, we're going to put the X values, the domain. So the first coordinate of each order pair looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm just going to hit each one on the keypad and hit enter. So 1, enter, and it goes to the next line, 2, enter, 3, enter, 4, 5, 6, 7. As you input data, make sure you double check and confirm that you have everything entered correctly. That's one of the most common mistakes. You enter something incorrectly and then you get a wrong answer. So we got 1 through 7. Now I'm going to arrow over to L2, and I'm going to enter the second coordinates. So, and make sure they're lined up and paired right across from their original order pair. So 3, enter, then 2, 4, 8, 9, 5, 9. Okay, and again, go back and double check and look over them and make sure you got them right. 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 8, 5, 9, 6, 5, 7, 9. Okay, once you have this entered, I want you to look at the stat plot. So there's 2 ways you can get to stat plot. You can either just go to y equal, and then you can arrow up and just hit enter, and that will turn it on. Okay, and then if I hit graph, it shows me those points. So I'm gonna go back to y equal, and I'm gonna hit enter and turn that off. The other way you get to it is if you look above y equal, in blue it says stat plot. If you hit second and then y equal, it brings you to this. And if you just hit enter, you can hit enter and turn it on, and then you have more options. You can do a dot, a scatter plot, a line, a bar graph. This is called a QQ plot, quartile plot, which you'll use that in statistics. And then this is one with outliers, this is one without outliers, and then this confirms the 2 lists you want to use. So once you do that, if you just hit enter on, and then from there you can hit graph, and you get the same thing. Now you can get a better image of this if you do zoom, and then we're going to go down to stat because we put all that information in stat. So go down, 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 and then number 9 says zoom stat. So if I hit enter, it'll just kind of focus on that section. All right, so you didn't really have to do that part, but I did want you to see what's happening. So it's graphing a scatter plot, and we want to come up with an equation that's going to go somewhat through the center of these lines in the upward direction. So once you get the information in stat, so I'm just going back and just going to edit. So here's our data. The next thing you want to do is go to stat. You're going to arrow to the right to calc. And we want to calculate the linear regression. Now there's 2 of them. You want to do the second one. Okay, this one is if you want to do just a regular linear equation. It says lin reg. Okay, so that's ax plus b that looks like slope-intercept form. The one that we want to use further down is this one. Okay, they both say lin reg, so for linear regression, but you want the a plus bx form. So this is for scatter plots. This is just for like a regular line. So we want this one. So I'm going to hit enter. And it's asking me, okay, you have your x values in list 1, yes. Y values list 2, yes. Frequency list, I don't need to do that. Now it also asks, do you want to store? I'm going to store it because I want to see the line. And so what we want to do here is we want the calculator to take the equation that it's about to calculate for us and go ahead and put it into the y equal for us. So we have to tell it we want you to store this in y1. The way you get to y1 is you have to do vars. So go to vars. You're going to arrow over to y vars. We're going to go enter on function. And then we're going to say we want to graph it in y1. So just hit enter. So it's saying, okay, once I create the equation, I'm going to plot it on y1. And then from there, we're just going to go down and calculate. So hit enter. And so here is giving you the equation. So your equation, the intercept is 1.57. And it says round the coefficients to 2 decimal places. So that's these 2 values. So 1.57. And then your slope is 1.03. So if you were to plug those in, that would be your equation. Now I'm going to go ahead and type that here. So I'm going to do 1.57 plus, and it says like your final answer, you want to round to 2 decimal places. Where did my calculator go? And let me just shrink it up a little bit so I can see them both at the same time. So we have 1.57 plus the bx. So b is 1.03, but that 3 will round up to a 4. So 1.04, 1.04x. So that is the equation. Now, what we did when we turned on the statistic diagnostics, that's when we went to mode and we went down and turned that on. It shows you the correlation coefficient because we're going to need that later. So if we had not turned that on, we would not be able to see those R values. Now for this problem, they're not asking R, but you will need that later. But let me also go to Y equal. So remember how we told it to plug it in Y1, it just plugs the whole thing there. And then if I hit graph, it shows that line going through those scatter plot that we made. So that's just an extra feature. But for the most part, we just needed this equation. And it's, I think, much easier to do it with the calculator. So let me just review real quick. You go to stat, you go to enter on edit, you input your x values in L1, y values in L2. Once you do that, you're going to go to stat, you're going to arrow over to calculate, and then you're going to go down to option 8 for this calculator, linear regression. And when you do that, okay, all you have to do is really go down and calculate. You don't have to store it. If you go down and calculate, it's going to give you that equation. Now let me show you. If I go down here and turn the stat diagnostics off, and then I do that again, if I go stat, calc, linear regression, and then I go down to calculate, see, this time it doesn't show those R values. So if you need those R values, I'm going to show you another method to get those when we get there.